So this will be the fourth video in the series. And I'm looking at this wall and noticing that I want to have one over here of the same type. So I'm just going to copy it like that. As I said, I know I never get it to line up originally, so I don't really worry about it. I just move it or copy it and then line it up. Because I know that pretty much every single time all right, so let's undo that. Let's take a look at this in 3D, see what the issue is. Well, it should be a single wall, not a single story wall, not a double. That shouldn't make a difference. Just pull this guy back and see what happens. Join. Element is reversed. I'm okay with that. All right. The stacked wall will be deleted because the subwall could not be created. All right. Should I deal with that now? Guess not. So I have some sort of an issue here, which I don't know what it is. So that's why Revit deleted it, because it had an issue with it, but I'm not worried about that. We'll come back and deal with, these are things that we'll just simply come back and deal with later. All right, so let's say that we'll start with, let's get rid of some of these dimensions in here. I don't need them anymore. What else? What was that? 6 feet or 5? Okay, that's good. That's a good dimension. Okay. You could take those out. Leave them in. All right. So I'm trying to think what's good to go next, and I guess I'll go around and put some doors in just to make sure that the doors will fit. I have to move a wall. I guess I would rather move the wall now. So this is the laundry room. We'll put in a 3-foot door is fine. It's bigger than it needs to be. And this is a closet, which is 6 feet wide. So a 3-foot door is probably not going to work for the hanging. A 2'6" or 2'8". Let's try 2'8". Put that in there. Okay. Let's just see. Let's center that door. See, it's my dimensions will snap to the center line. All right, so the door automatically centered. And let's just see what I got over here for distance. Probably okay for hanging. That's a closet, remember. Now here we want to get into there. That doesn't need to be 2'8", but it's still nice. So let's use that 2'8" door. So now I can get into my 2'8". Let's do that for the power room. Okay. And I want to go to a 3-foot door to get into the house. I'm not sure where we're coming into the house at, but I guess this is the best spot to do it. No. And so maybe move the door over a little bit. Modify to get out of any other command that's going on. So for right now, that's that. So we're going to come in. We got lots of space here. We close the door, then walk over there. How do I want to get into this room? Again, I can just say 3-foot door. Let's do that. Texture door, 3 feet. right? This is an archway, so this is not a doorway, this will be an archway. So let's see what we have for what's in doors or nope, it's in components. Okay. So let's type arch. See what happens here if we come up with anything. Nope. It's an opening. Let's see what we have. We'll just type open. There we go. Passageway. So 36 by 84. There we go. There's my passageway into here. I want a wall coming across here for my closet and my powder room. So let's pull this guy up, pull this guy down, and the interior dimension for the closet needs to be 2 feet. Pretty close. All right. And let's see. What do we have for 6-foot opening? I'm gonna put two 2-foot doors. So that, okay. Let's grab this guy. We'll edit the witness line. I just want to see what 9 feet. Oh, plenty of space for my powder room. All right. Don't need that anymore. Or that. All right, so I still have to fix that wall, but basically you're going to come in, you'll have a little walkway here, which will have a closet, and then a nice powder room here. Other nice feature is when you walk out of the powder room, you're not walking right into public space. You do have a little transition, which I like. Really nice dramatic foyer here. This can be anywhere. The door can be anywhere, or it could be doubles. This is going to be a big archway. Let's see. From here down to here, I'm going to have a 20-foot archway in here. So let's look at the component and let's see what my opening is, what the biggest opening that I have. Nothing even close. So I'm going to say, edit the type, duplicate it. I'm going to make it it's going to be higher than 84 inches. But for now, we'll leave it like that. So my width of that I said is going to be 20 feet. So now I have a 20-foot wide archway. Let's put them in there. And see, it's not quite where I want it to be. Plus, I can't see it. VG. Remember, I turned off my detail items. I don't think that's it, but let's see what happens. No, okay. VG. I'll turn my detail items off again. But for some reason, I'm not seeing the archway. It gave me that message. Why? Let's take a look at the view range. I want to see the dash line of the archway, and I'm not seeing that. So and it's not letting me select it. So let's pull this down to here, and we'll do a little trick here. This is the archway that I'm interested in. No, it's not. This is the archway that I'm interested in right here. Okay, there we go. I've selected it. I can go back to the first floor now and it's selected. And I should be able to move it down. You can see the walls are moving. Okay, there's mine. Archway. So what I have is come into the foyer, and then we have a big opening into the great room. Very big great room. Okay, I'm liking that too. Save my work. And all right, that'd probably be an opening. Let's see, if I put countertop here and here, I'm going to sketch that in there, annotate detail line. It's 2 feet away from where I'm actually going to draw it. So I'm going to draw that. I'm hitting the space bar to get it on the correct side. Coming up to here, and then across to there. Okay. So that's the outline for my butler pantry countertop, and then I'll put my archways in there. Again, we know that's in not doorways, but it's component. And 3 feet would be nice. 36 by 84. Okay, none of the created elements are visible in floor plan first floor view. You may want to check the active view, its parameters and visibility settings, as well as any plan region and other settings. I'm not sure why it's not showing my archways. Let's do VG real quick and just scroll down and see detail items are not being shown. Generic models, mass, parts, anything that's unchecked is not being shown. Topography. All right. So, but for me, it's working out right now. Still kind of fine tuning the sketches, and it looks fine to me. All right. So we'll have to figure out what that is, but you don't need to watch me do that. I'll figure it out and then I'll explain what's happening there. All right, so annotate detail line. I'm just putting in a reference here. It's really not necessary. Helps me slightly. All right, I'm going to use my trim extend. All right, so here's the question. We are definitely going to have a doorway here into the breakfast nook, but should we have one over here as well? And I'm thinking, yeah, but that really definitely isolates the kitchen. I'm going to do a detail line from here down to here. And then, so this is the new layout of the kitchen. We can actually get in to the kitchen on this side, which we should actually do. I think now it's a point of which is of more value. Is an entrance into here more valuable than a counter that turns the corner? And I'm thinking that I would rather have the archway. So let's do that. Architecture component, whoops, architecture component. 36 is fine. Just put it right there. And do the same thing over here. And try to figure out why. Seeing those archways. But it's not critical to the work that we're doing right now. Okay. So I could have, this is a nice pantry. You know, a very nice shelving all the way around, which is accessible. Closet. All right, yeah, I'm very happy with that. All right, so let's put in our countertops. I'm going to close these two sections and go back to seeing both of these components here. We'll start to see the kitchen go in. So let's put my first countertop in. So it is a modeled in place. I call it casework. I'm putting in a family category of casework. And Revit's going to give it that same name and call it one. And that's fine. I just accept that. And so I'm going to do an extrusion. If you're familiar with SketchUp, then you know how easy extrusions are. We just simply define a perimeter, give it a thickness, and then we have a mass. So in this case, my extrusion starts at 2'10" off of the first floor. It goes up to 3 feet. It's already defaulted to my marble, which I use, so I can. And it's okay. And now you're starting to see let's spin this around so it makes you see a little bit better. Maybe there's my countertop, my first countertop in there. Now we can put the model in place. Again, casework, but now it's going to call it casework 2, and that's, to me, that's fine. I don't, for casework 3, I don't really have a problem with that. Extrusion, which is going to be a rectangle again. And let's put that rectangle right here. Still constraining 3 feet above, 2 feet 10 to start. Same with green marble, looks good. So now I have you can see I have an island in there now. Let's see, yeah. Here's my island. It looks low though, doesn't it? Let's see. Well, let's go. I don't know why it looks that low. I hope it's just a illusion, but anyway, let's go to that section and see what happened here. Look at how low that is. I'm working on the first floor, so I don't know why it did that. But well, I can just say align and align. Now I have it at the right height. Something went wrong there for putting it in, and I don't know what it was, but back to the first floor. Now I'm going to put my countertop in over here, architecture, component, model in place. It's still going to be casework, so now we'll call it casework 4, I'll say okay. And my references, first floor, my extrusion. See, my work plane is the first floor, so it should go in where I expect it to. And it did. Let's see there. Okay, so the last countertop now, architecture, component, model in place, casework. Okay, okay. Some extrusion, I'm gonna draw it. The reference is the first floor, that's my work plane, and these are the distances away. There's my countertops. Now they're not going to be there completely because I want to put some appliances in there, refrigerator for sure, oven, stove, kind of thing. Sinks certainly will have to cut holes in the countertop. So let's stop. Let's save that first of all and say, all right, where would you put the oven? I like it right here. And so now we're going to use the stacked walls, and I like this oven. Create somewhere, come over here. What does it say? It's telling me I can't see it. Right, so now I'm going to have to flip this around and go to that view. I'm trying to figure out why it's not letting me see that. There it is. It's a generic model. Why am I generic models? So it should not be turned off. VG. Here they are. Generic models are turned on. Everything is there. Okay. So I should be able to see that in the plan view right now. And yet, when we're at the first floor, I cannot. So let me try to figure it out. I'll pause. All right, it might be good for me to show the investigation of all the possibilities that could be causing me not to be able to see that. But I reset all my temporary hides and it didn't show up. But when I click my light bulb, which is hiding elements, I can see that the site plane is hidden, but I can see my range here. So what I want to do is try to grab that range. Got it. Look at my filter. I only have one object. So I'm going to right click on top of it. I have it selected and I'm going to say unhide in view that category. And then we'll go back. And now my range is visible. Let's see if that's, and look what happened. I also got my archways because that category was, apparently that was the same category as range. All right, so let's see if I flip this guy around. All right, I like it there. I'm going to align it. And can't see it because the countertop is in the way, but let's see what we want to, how we want to locate that. There's the center line. All right. Then I just click the equal button. Now what I just did was I told Revit to put that so that the dimension from the edge of the countertop to the middle of the range is the same as from the middle of the range to the wall. So if we look at that in view, you can see that it's equally distant. All right. But what we can also see is that the countertop goes through it and it should not. So what I'm going to do is grab this countertop. Well, that's a reference plane. I can just delete that. I'm going to come down, pull my countertop right up against there. Okay, and then I'll just copy what I have highlighted. And okay, so now when we look at our 3D, you can see that I have my stove and countertop on both sides. And while I'm here, why not put the range into, now this I think is ceiling mounted, I think. So let's see if I say create similar. Then come over here. It's not ceiling mounted, so that's good. Put it over here, right up against the wall. We'll take a look at the section again, because I want the range to line up. The middle of the range hood should line up here. So let's do that. Here's my stove. Now they're lined up completely. And I do want this to go all the way up to the ceiling. So right now, looks like it's 2'3", and I really want it to be what? Up to here, 4'3". All right, so I'm going to click on this and look at the parameters over here. And it's not set up that way, so I'll edit the type. Instead of being 2'3", which is the chimney height, let's make that 4'3" and just see what happens. Look at that. All right, so I'm happy. I might want to make it narrower or wider. Not too concerned about that right now. But back to the 3D view. You can see now that I have my cooktop, my ovens, and my range is there. I like that. So that looks good for that wall. It's pretty much devoted to the oven stove. And where would we put the refrigerator? Well, I like it right here. Some people talk about that triangle. I even don't worry about that triangle. Maybe I should. The truth is that this is a layout that I'm doing. there would be a kitchen designer involved here. Whoever sells the kitchen cabinets and appliances would actually design this, and they might lobby for a different arrangement, but for purposes of marketing and just presenting my ideas, I'm going to put the refrigerator right here. So let's go back to my stacked wall. Here's my refrigerator. I'm going to say create similar, come over here, that refrigerator right there. And so you can see how having all of these makes it very simple to generate work pretty quickly. Now the countertop goes through the refrigerator. So I'm trying to select the countertop, but remember I put a detail line in there. I can just take that out of there now and drag my countertop back to here. Let's go look at it in 3D again, see what's going on. Now I have my refrigerator in there with the countertop over here. I have my island here in the middle, and now I'll go over here and put the sink in. So let's go back to my stacked walls, and here's my sink and my base cabinet. So let's see if I can grab both of those at the same time and say create similar. Nope, when you grab two things, you can't do the create similar. All right, so but you can copy. So let's try that. Copy from here. Yeah. All right. So I'm going to grab this and pull it back so that I have that view. Go to that view. And then I'm going to copy these two guys, the sink and the base cabinet. I think I already did copy it. Yep, I did. But let's go to the floor plan. And I probably copied it. All right. So okay, that's better. I'm not sure what this is. Oh, that's the backsplash, maybe? Okay, so let's move this. It's all highlighted and selected still. Oops, no, it's not. It's because of this mouse, which just doesn't have the sensitivity that I'm used to. All right, let's look at that in 3D just to see what we did. Okay, so there you can see I do have a backsplash there. Yeah, and I do have my sink and my base cabinet. So let's see. I'm going to, a couple of ways we could do that. I could center that sink on this island, or I could center it on this total peninsula here, but I think I'm going to center it on the island. So let's do architectural reference plane. Let's see if we can find a midpoint. Yep, there's my midpoint of the island. So let's grab these things and move them from the midpoint of here to there. Okay. So now my sink is located centrally to the island. All right, I like that. I'm looking at this in 3D. All right, let's see. I have to cut a hole here, and I do want another sink on this side, on this island too. but I'm not going to worry about that right now. Go back to my stacked walls here. I'm looking for the dishwasher, which is right here. And let's go back to it's highlighted over here, and I'm just going to copy it from here. Oops, that sensitivity of that mouse is really bad. Copy from here. Over there. And you can see that it needs to be rotated. That's where I want it to be. It's not letting me use the arrows to rotate it, so I'll just do it this way. I think this is it. Now the question is, does the dishwasher go on the left or the right side? So some people say it should be on the left, others say it should be on the right, because we know that we're going to have a kitchen designer actually put the kitchen in. I'll put it on the right hand side only because it seems like there's more space on this side for base cabinets than there are over here. The other thing that I would do, which also helps to solve that problem, is I'll just put one on both sides. So now we have a kitchen with two dishwashers, one on each side, and that's not uncommon. Okay, let's go to 3D. Yep. All right, so it looks like they can be pushed back in a little bit in the floor plan. They're stuck out a bit far. So I'll use my align tool and line them up like that. Oh, looking good. Kitchen's starting to take shape. And I do want to kind of lay everything out to make sure that it fits. If they have to move a wall, I want to move that wall now. Because before I start putting on the second floor items. Okay, so what else? I did say I wanted another sink. Let's go see. What do we have for other sinks? Yeah, I can use. Oh, I do have my island. Let's go. Yeah, I do have this island sink right here. So let's take the island sink and I'll just bring it over to here and rotate it. Because they're working, we might want to have some landing space here. All right, so if you need a sink, you've got one in the island. If you're working here, and if you're working here, you've got one. Okay, so that looks good. For now, it's backwards, so let's flip it. Because we want the faucets here. All right, now what else do we need? I prefer a microwave drawer as opposed to putting the microwave. Certainly don't put it on the countertop. But don't build it into a, we could build it into this. I have this over here with my double ovens and that, so I could do that. Maybe that's what we'll do. I'm going to highlight everything that's there and it's selected over there, and I'm just going to copy all of that over here. I want it over here, so let's do that. And then we'll rotate that 90 degrees. So we have a couple more ovens now. And the microwave is built into those cabinets. So I would still want to draw. But anyway, let's look at it in 3D just to see what's going on here. I'll spin it around. I have my kitchen starting to evolve. I do have two big ovens here, but I now have two ovens here and a microwave up there. Okay. That's fine. I would still put that dish drawer in there, so let's do that. The microwave drawer, not the dish drawer, but I have this guy, so I'm going to highlight him. And here, copy him. So we're going to have two microwaves. All right, let's move it back up to here. And this is the front. Generally, when you see these arrows, that means that's the front. Rotate everything 180 degrees. And then if you're sitting in the breakfast nook and you need a microwave, now you have one. So back to the 3D. So you're sitting in the breakfast nook, you need a microwave, bam, we've got one. And let's see, now what I'm showing, this is being 3 foot wide. That could be a breakfast bar right here. And that would work. Okay, so let's do that. So I'm going to make this a breakfast bar. So we'll have some chairs here. So you can sit. We could do it on this side, but I don't think that would work as well. Okay, so let's save it. And yeah. Start putting in the base cabinets in the kitchen. So back over here, my stuff. I want to put my base cabinets in. We'll take a look at this wall first of all. And a little cabinet I can put in here. How much space do I have? 1 foot. So I'll put a 1 foot cabinet in there. And I'll grab this guy. And let's copy him. Really a hard time with this mouse. Pretty sure I copied him over there. Don't see him. Still don't see him. All right. Let's do it again. I want this set of drawers. It's right here. Copy. And here. Right there. There we go. Okay, you can see it. I'm going to click on it. Arrows are here, which means that that's the front. So I'll rotate it 90 degrees this way. And we can align. Okay. I want to go to that section and use the align tool right there. And that is not 12 inches, so that's 15 inches. I want the 12-inch version. So now there we go. And now I have to align it again. Okay. So back to 3D again. You can see now I'm starting to get my cabinets in there. Always a good idea to save it. Okay. My backsplash, since I'm looking at it, I can just drag it over now. There's my backsplash. It turns out that I don't want it to be that high. I can drag it down, but it's in there for now. Save this. And I want to put in some base cabinets there. Back over here. Let's do this. Create similar. See, it's not letting me do that. Back to the first floor. It will let me do it now. And put in some more drawers here. Maybe this one. Create similar. All right. Let's take a look at how I want this to be lined up. I think this guy should be over here, so let's grab these guys and just move him over. I like this guy over here. All right, I'm going to use the arrow just to move it over, then I will align it. And got a lot there. A lot of space, so this could be wider. Let's do that. Let's see what options we have. I can make that much wider. Let's make it 24 inches wide. I use the arrow keys just to move this by. I'm going to move it both. So I'll select both of those. I'm using the arrow keys on the keyboard just to nudge it over. This guy has to go over. And then I'll use the align tool. Actually put it where it's supposed to be. And put this guy over here. This guy over here. Now, they're not hinged correctly. If I click on this, go to the first floor, I can switch it. Just switch it like that. So let's go back to the view now and see what happened. When I click that arrow, it flipped it. Okay. And I still have a space here, which I want to put another set of these in here. So we'll just copy that. From here, straight across, measure the distance that we have to fit inside. 1 foot, that's actually good. We'll align this guy right here. There we go. All right. Back to the 3D. Okay. Back to the first floor plan. We can see that some of these guys are sticking out. So let's make them work. That looks good. Might have gone back too far. There we go. That looks better. All right. So now I'm starting to get my kitchen in place. I'll put some more base cabinets here. Now this could be a desk, but I don't think so. Just make that. Put some more cabinets here. It's looking good so far. Okay. So let's take a look at the layout so far. Some base cabinets and some upper cabinets here. My section line is successfully set up in the right spot, so I can simply go to view. All right, and then I'll go back to my stacked walls over here. And what do you think here? Drawers. cabinets. Let's put drawers. Okay, so create similar. Not letting me do that, so I'll do it from here. Let's flip it. I can see that the needs to be flipped so that that's the front of the cabinet is there. Go back to my section. I'll be able to, oops, I'll be able to see what I have there. And I'm thinking pots can go down here. This is really not necessary to think it through that deeply because a professional will actually lay it out. So 1'8" is not a standard distance. 1'9" is, but I'll make it 18 inches, 1'6". So 18 inches is right there. And that'll give me a little gap between the stove and the cabinets. And then I'll just mirror that very thing around the center of the exhaust fan. All right, so we can see 3D is really nice because it's showing me that I still have to put those cabinets back. I'm going to align, but now I'm going to say multiple alignment, which means I'm going to pick the object that I want to align to, and then I can pick more than one object to align to that. And so that's what the multiple is. So I'm going to uncheck that. Sometimes that does cause problems when I'm not aware of it being selected. Okay, and so now what? Now we want to put the upper cabinets. Let's go back over here and we'll just use this guy. See that mouse? It's bad sensitivity. You really have to push down hard on the button in order for it to activate any kind of, well, in order for it to register. Okay, so now create similar. I'll come over here, put that right on this wall. See, that object is wall based. It's hosted by a wall. Okay, looks good there. Let's go back to my section here. We said this was 18 inches, so let's make this guy 18 incher. Let's see, we don't have one, so edit the type, duplicate it. So now, when I use this model as when I use this model to be my template, I will have an 18-inch upper cabinet in there. So let's align that center of this guy with the center of that guy. Cookie would open that way as well. And now I'll take this and mirror. Right. Let's take this guy and mirror it about in the center. There we go. The kitchen's starting to look pretty nice. I guess let's let the floor plan determine what's next. All right, again, I don't have my upper cabinets in there, so let's go to that view and we can put some upper cabinets in there, but maybe here I probably should have a window so I know what I'm doing with my upper cabinets. There's a couple of thoughts about that. A too wide window puts the bar right in the center, the separation between the two windows. And some argue that it's better to have 3 windows so that the center window is open, but it's very rare, I think, that you stand right at this part of the sink. You're either standing on this side or this side. So I'm going to go with 2, too wide. And architecture, window. Let's see what we have here. We got a double casement window. 48 by 60, so it's 4 feet wide. Maybe I'm going to have to modify it anyway, so we'll use the 4-footer. So I have my window in there. Go back to that section, and it's too wide, too deep, too high. But I think this is the top of my window, so I need to make sure that the top of the windows. Let's see if I can do that. Top of the 4 windows, and then let's see, the head height will be 0. Let's see what happens when we do that. Yep, there's my top of my windows. The head height is 0. So I'll put the windows at the right. What we're seeing here is casing around there. And I think that the height of that window is kind of fine. So I'm going to grab my backsplash and maybe bring that backsplash down a bit here. That's going to not be enough. But for now, let's take a look at it anyway. This like that at all, actually. So what I was saying is when you're standing at the sink, if you're standing in the midpoint of the sink, then this is in your face, okay? This is in your field of view. But generally, you're standing on this side of the sink working and looking out, or you're standing on this side and looking out, so you don't have that. But if we made this a 3-wide window, then the center panel will be centered on a space that you don't actually work at. And when you're standing here, you'll have one of these mullions in your face. So that's why I think 2 is fine. 2 wide is fine. Okay. Now we're going to put some upper cabinets in there. So this is going to be a single cabinet. All right. I think we said this doesn't work. Create similar. Come over here. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Okay. All right. So now we're going to have to make a new height of window or cabinets. But first of all, I think that's a 12-inch wide unit, so let's do that. And then we'll center that unit on this guy so that they line up, okay? I like that. Now, the height from the countertop to the bottom of the cabinet should be 12 to 18 inches. So let's see what we have right now. From the countertop to the bottom of my cabinet is 18 inches. And I'm not opposed to that. It puts this shelf a little bit high. When you're standing here, this first shelf is a little bit high and the rest of them are even more difficult to get to. So let's change that. Let's see if we change that to 12 inches. I think that'll be better for accessibility. All right, so that looks good. And then what I'm going to do then is I will raise this guy up to there. And I'll have to cut that extrusion. I'll put a void in there. Okay, so now let's do a double. So we'll say create similar. Put that right here. And we might change the height of these window or these cabinets because they look pretty low relative to the height of the window here. Okay, so that's too wide anyway. So let's measure the distance that we have. Actually, we have less than that because this is 2 feet, but there's casing around there. So this should really be a 2-foot unit. Let's see what it is. It is a 2-foot unit. Okay, I'm going to leave it like that for now. And mirror that out here. So the cabinets are actually going into the casing around the window a little bit. I don't think that's the end of the world. We don't have cabinets above the sink, so that's fine. And what should we do here? Let's see. This is a 24 inches, so we'll just copy from the midpoint of here to the midpoint of here. I got that in there. And what size is this? 12 inches. It's popping up as a 12 inch. I know I have that, so I can copy that. Let's copy that from the midpoint of here to the midpoint of here. And this can be 24-inch wide. Okay, so let's take this guy. We'll copy him from the midpoint of here to the midpoint of here. And I'm going to make it wider because I've got 48 inches of cabinet below. Let's see if we have a 48-inch. Yep. Look at that. All right, let's go back and look in 3D now. Okay, so everything's fine except that I think the cabinets need to be much taller. The height is fine as far as off of the countertop, but the cabinet height should definitely be taller. Let's see. A lot of them, if I went up to I went 5 feet. So let's just take this guy, edit the type, duplicate it, and make it 24 by 60. Let's see. And then make this 5 feet. Oops, that was my mistake. Edit again. I want the height to be 5 feet. Might not be enough. Let's have a look. Yep, it is. All right. So now I doubt that anyone's going to use all of that, but let's go with that. So on this wall, we're going to go with these high cabinets. So edit the type, duplicate it. That's going to be 12 by 60. And then I'll change the height to 5. Let's see what happens here. That looks good too. See, that's a lot of cabinet there, but that's all right. I don't really mind it. There's no way you can reach the top of that without a ladder, but aesthetically it looks pretty good. So you'd store things up there that you don't need every day. So this is a 24-inch by 60, and we're going to change this guy to a 24-inch by 60. So we got 24 by 60. This is 24 double. This is 24 double. So again, we'll change that. Let's use the match properties. Okay, so let's see what happens if we match properties, this and this. Okay, that worked. Okay, now this I think is again one of these. So let's use the match properties again. Match this and that. That works. This one we have to make another one. And so we will. Edit the type, duplicate, and I'm going to call it 48 by 60. And then we'll change the height here to 5 feet. And there we go. Look at that. There's my kitchen layout on that side. Let's go over to this side. So maybe that should be the 5 foot tall also. So right now it's 18 inches. Let's see if we have an 18 by 60. We do not. So we'll edit the type, duplicate it, call it 18 by 60, and we'll change this to 5. Is that okay? And now we use the match properties Okay, that's starting to make sense now. I just really would want the top of the cabinets all to line up. Okay, so I just have to put some over here on this wall. I can see from my 3D view that I need to put some over here on this wall. So we'll do that. Go back to my floor plan. And as I said, I like to work with 2 sections only while I'm laying things out. And then when I'm ready to do my construction documents, then I'll add my other sections, but I find it easier just to move the sections around as you like them. So this view is here. And this guy, this one I'm going to have to make a new one that has this cabinet to be all the way up to the top there. But anyway, let's measure what we have here for the base cabinets. I've got almost 4 feet. I didn't measure. Oh, I could move that over. Okay, let's do that. I'm going to take this guy and now I'll just line them up with that. So now I should have my, but I can also see that that countertop is going through my cabinet. So I'll pull it back. This is an extrusion that I made for the countertop. Pull it back to there. That looks good. That looks good over there. I want 48 inches down there. Let's go back to my stacked walls. It's a double base cabinet is what I'm looking for. And, oh, interesting. I don't have a double base cabinet like this. This should be one on both sides. This is a sink base. But this, then we'll put, no, we'll just create some, I think that's floor based. So I have a problem putting that in the section. And I flip that guy around. Okay, let's move him back down a little bit. So when I look at my section, I see him completely. And obviously that hinge should be on this side. So what I'll do, I'll move that one over here. And I'm just going to hover over it to see what exactly is this. Is this a 24-inch wide? Yep. Okay, so I should be able to mirror that guy about here. Should be able to. Let's try it again. Pick this. Say I want to mirror it and pick that. Okay. And now I can align see what's happening is this mouse is just not sensitive enough when oh geez. So I'm pushing really hard on it. I want to pick this guy. Come on, pick this guy. See, when I push down hard enough on the mouse, that happens. So what you're seeing is not a failure of the program. It's a failure of the operator to operate a mouse that is just not sensitive enough to the touch. You really have to push that wheel down or that mouse button down really hard for that to happen. In order for the commands to work. Okay, so now let's see. Doubles there. I already have one made. Let's. I already have an upper cabinet made that I want to put in there, but let's go. We'll flip this just to see what it's called. I think it's this one right here, 48 by 60. All right, let's see. Nah, that's not gonna work. So let's go back over here, flip them. And then we'll go to that view, which is right here. And we'll put a 48 by 60. architecture. I just put this guy in to begin with, make it easy. Create similar, put him right there. Okay, but we'll change this now to a 48 by 60. So for 48 by 60, here we go. Wow. Okay. And visible. Okay. Align. I should just get in the mouse. All right. So this guy, this cabinet, I don't know if he's an individual cabinet or not. Yeah, he's a family. See, when I click on it, everything is selected. All right, so let's save the work here. Let's see if I can edit this family. It's an extrusion tool. Okay, so in order for that to work, it's going to take some effort. So I'm going to leave that alone for now. And we'll do that as an exercise on how to modify a family, but that's going to take some work in order to do that. And that's really not what I want to focus on right now. Okay. Looks like this door could be moved over so that the casing and so how much extra work I have to do because the mouse is not accepting my clicks with the pressure that I'm putting in there. All right, so let's go back and take a look at the 3D. So what I mean by extra work is I have to actually push the buttons a second time, sometimes a third time in order to get it to work. All right, so that looks pretty good, doesn't it? All right, let's take a look at it. I didn't do anything down here underneath this island, but I want to take a camera shot of my kitchen. There's no floor in there yet, or there's no ceiling. That looks pretty good. So ZE for zoom extents. In AutoCAD, you type Z, enter, E, enter. But in Revit, you just type ZE. So I'm going to go over to View, Render in the Cloud. I'm going to do a final and a maximum and say go ahead and render. So we're going to get a rendering of this kitchen without a ceiling or a floor. Some material like green marble is missing. All right, and so there we go. Now I've sent this off to the Autodesk server, which is really an Amazon server. Autodesk rents their servers from Amazon. And let's do this one as well. ZE. So I'm going to take this, bring it over. This is my crop region. What's this? I put a cabinet there, don't need it. Don't need these railings either on the outside of those stairs, but I might move the stairs around, and in that case, I might need the railing there. So I'm not going to delete them yet. All right, and then I'm going to send this guy off to make a rendering of it just to see what I have. So I have no floor in the garage, no floor in the house, no ceilings, but if I had ceilings, it would be harder to see the rooms. So render in the cloud. Final. Whoops, advanced is fine. Maximum, render. I think it'll tell me that it's missing that material again, which is okay. I'll just say okay. And now we have these going to the Revit Autodesk server. So I'm going to click on my render gallery, and you can't see that right now, but I can. And I'll pause this while we're waiting for Revit to complete the renderings. So this is only for my benefit. I won't share this with the clients or anything like that, but I've made those two renderings. I'll go insert, import an image, and one, put it here, and then I'll just take a look at it and see what works, what doesn't, and what kind of changes, if any, that I want to make. And then I'll come over here, insert, image, 2. So I've downloaded these images from the Revit server. That's a little dark. They're both a little dark, but not too bad. So let's zoom in. All right, so I can see that I need to put a backsplash behind the cooktop. I need to cut out this countertop for the sink. And I remember that I still have to do that. And look at, I think these guys stick out too far. So the rendering was kind of helpful in showing me some of the things that I need to do still in my floor plan. Now you notice that this is a real mess here. It's got all kinds of images here and that. But when I go to present my first floor plan, I'll use my crop region and come back and just be able to see that. So anyway, let's do this first. Align. I'm going to do multiple again so that I can click here. Get close to. So that was one thing we needed to do. Another thing we need to do is cut the countertop. So let's do that. Now I picked this line here. That's my reference line that I put in there. I can just delete that now. I use that to create the outline of my countertop. So now I'm going to say edit in place. I'm going to create a void form, which is a void extrusion. I'm going to draw an extrusion that is wider than the opening of the sink, but not as wide as the actual sink itself, because if I cut a hole in the sink, or if I cut a hole in the countertop that is as big as the sink itself, meaning the whole sink assembly, then the sink would actually fall through that hole. So I'm going to look at my constraints. My void is at least as thick as my extrusion that I want to cut. So I'm going to say okay to that. I'm going to cut that, and then I'll say okay. And if we change this to consistent colors, now you can see that the countertop is no longer going through my sink. And if I spin this guy around a little bit, we should be able to see the same thing. Yep, look at that. Now the sink is there. Okay, and I can also see that I need to cut that. So why don't we do that next? Flip this. Let's go to that view. And let's see if we can edit this guy in place. Create a void form. A void extrusion. We're going to pick a plane. Let's see if we can pick this guy. Maybe I'll switch this back to hidden line because I'm trying to pick a plane. So I'll say, okay, let's pick a plane here if we can. Tab, that's the plane that I want. And now I can make my void extrusion, and can be from here to here. I think that'll work. Say okay. Let's cut. And let's see what happened. Didn't cut anything, cancel, so I have to pick the cut. I'm going to cut and pick the extrusion and the extrusion and say, okay, now let's see what happens. I think we're okay now. That doesn't look good. Let's shift that over here. No, didn't get it. Huh. Okay, try it again. Edit in place. Create void form. Avoid extrusion. I'm going to pick a plane. Tab. Now this time I'm going to make this -3 feet. So that's a deep extrusion. And let's see what happens. Sketches invalid. Okay. My constraints look good. I picked that plane. From that plane, my void extrusion extends out 3 feet and goes back 3 feet. Say okay to that. You can see the extrusion now. It's on both sides of the wall. Let me spin it around. Maybe you can see it a little bit better. That's my void extrusion. And now I'm going to say cut and finish. And now we did get it. So the void extrusion before simply wasn't going through the backsplash. And so that's why we weren't able to cut it, because the extrusion itself didn't go through the backsplash. But now it does. All right, so that's 2. Let's go back to the floor plan. There was a couple other things that I noticed from here. Yeah, I'm going to put a backsplash over here too, don't we? Okay. So what's the easiest way to do that? We'll go to the first floor plan right here. And let's do it this way. Go to the view. I'm actually going to draw the extrusion. So architecture, component, model in place. I'll still call it casework. It's part of the cabinetry in a way. Certainly part of the kitchen. All right, so I'm going to do an extrusion. I want to pick a plane. So let's see if I can pick this wall. So I can get this wall here. Pick this wall that's in the background there. Got it. Oh, I had it. I don't know if I got it or not. So I'm going to X out of here and start over again. Architecture, component, model in place, casework. Okay. Okay. Now I'm going to do an extrusion. It wants me to pick a plane. I'll say okay. And I'll be a little bit slower on my tabs here. There we go. Now I did get it. And I can draw the... All right. So my backsplash is now, I want it to go, well, let's go all the way up to the ceiling with it. I could maybe stop it at the top of the cabinets. I see that I need to change the location of that particular line. All right, this guy's going to come across to here and up to here. Now we got a problem. So this going to have to move over. All right, and I remember I said this didn't line up, and I can't move it anymore. So I can't move the cabinet in the background anymore. So I'm going to line that up. And how thick is it? Look at it, it's a really thick extrusion. We'll leave it like that for now. What's the material? I haven't picked the material yet. We're going to use that green again. Great green marble. Now don't have that, purchase a new computer. And so that image doesn't exist on this computer in the location that Revit's looking for the image of the green marble. That's why we're not seeing it. All right, so let's take a look at what I just did here. I put an extrusion in there, but it's a really thick extrusion. You can see it right here. So let's go to the floor plan. There's that extrusion. I know that the extrusion is going to sit on my gypsum board wall here, and I can grab it. Whoops, so that it's a negative, but let's put it right here. Okay. Go back to that 3D view. You see it? Let's have a look at consistent color. Turn off the shadows. Yeah, we can see it. Okay. So I think, no, I still have to put cabinets underneath the island. And that will be the end of it. Okay. So here's my stacked wall family. And in this view, I'm going to let this be the overhang. So let's just grab this guy and create some more. And I'll just put him over here. And let's click on it to see. I want to see where the arrows are, so I know which is the. Let's see the arrows. So let's drag them down to here, and I want to put this into. So I'll say create some more. Come over here. Put him in there. Put those arrows, but I don't see them. I'll use the keyboard arrows to just get it in there. My section's looking in the wrong direction. I'll flip it, go to that view. Now I can see those cabinets that I just put in, but I can see stuff in the background too, and that's confusing to me. So I'm going to click on that, and my depth of field isn't going to go back to this wall. It's going to stop right here, so I won't be able to see anything over here. Now we'll go back to that section. And it looks to me like both of these guys are in backwards. So let's go back to the first floor. And there's the arrows. Oh, there are the arrows down here too. So couldn't see them because of the countertop. Okay. There we go. Now we'll go back to that view. We can see the faces of the cabinets. And this guy, oh, I have a sink, so I need a base. I need a sink base, which will be this one. So back to the first floor. Create similar. Let's put him right there. There's the arrows, so I know I have to flip it. Click on it here. Let's see those. That's having a hard time seeing the arrows. Okay. Now let's grab that guy and pull him back down here. Okay, back to that section. I want this to. Oh, wait a minute. A bit of an error, bit of an issue here. Let's change this back to hidden line. This base cabinet really has to be over here, doesn't it? It has to be related to this sink. So that means we're going to have an overhang here and an overhang here. Well, that could work. Okay. Or we can just have narrower, shallower cabinets here, my base across here, and then the overhang will just be here. And I like that. So let's get this in first. Let's get this right. So I'm going to flip it. And for my depth of field, depth of view, go to that view. There it is. And why don't I take this guy and put him, let's try that. I'm going to align And then we'll align this guy. And then let's go back to the first floor and see what's going on. Something went wrong. Back to that view. See the cabinet sticking out. So back to this view. Align that. Okay. Oh, because I see I have that multiple still selected. I told you sometimes that causes a problem. So I'll deselect that multiple for my. And that was a good example. So I still have a little bit of landing space here if I need to come off of the cooktop, for example, or from the ovens, but I also have landing space on both sides, so I think we're okay there. Okay, then we'll go back over here and flip it. And let's take a look at it now. So, see, okay, yep, he's good. This one. Okay, back to the first floor plan. Oops. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to keep my detail lines. I had to select one and these cabinets, and I'm going to say isolate. Oh, so that's all I have. Oh, I wanted that one too. So I didn't get it. All right, reset. So we'll do it this way. Let's try to hide that out. So, all right, so I can see this guy. Let's move him over. Move him over. Okay, this is in the right spot. And so I can have another deep cabinet right here, which is how wide? 9 inches wide. Okay, so let's grab this one, or I could make it wider. So let's grab that and just copy it over. And then I'm going to change it to a 9-inch wide cabinet. Right there. And then align it here. Okay, so that's good. And then what do I have for depth? Nine-inch deep. Okay, so let's take this guy and copy him over here. And we're going to edit him so that he's only 9 inches deep. So let's see. Edit. Duplicate so we don't lose anything. So it's 9 inch. We're going to say 9 inch by 9 inch. Okay. So the depth is going to be, oops, 9 inches. Okay. So what that's going to be is just a bunch of move that guy. All right, we'll take this section then. Go to the section. I'll be able to see that cabinet in the section. There he is. And I want to move him this way. I only because I want to be able to see it in the plan. So there it is. Let's align him up here. And then let's see if we, let's go over here. We'll go to this view. And there's my little drawers, and I'm going to have a bunch of them. They're 9 inches deep. And multiple is selected here for copy. So I copy these guys over. That's good enough. Okay. Now back to the first floor. I'm going to reset my temporary hide and align multiple alignments. I'm going to move all of the little 9-inch cabinets here. And then again, going to hide that element. Only because I want these cabinets to be aligned with those. So I'm going to pick that line right there. These up just a little bit. Reset my temporary hide. And let's look at it in 3D real quick. Yeah, it looks good, except I still have to cut the counter. I still have to cut the countertop for that. All right, so I like it. I've got cabinets all the way across here. I have cabinets over here, but if I want to put some chairs, I could put some chairs right over here. Let's have a little breakfast buffet area. So the last thing to do, I think, is need those reference lines anymore. I'm going to edit in place, create a void form, void extrusion. That'll work too. Relative to the first floor, I'm going 3 feet up and 3 feet down, so the void is bigger than the countertop, which is fine. It'll cut the countertop, cut through the countertop. It starts at the height of the countertop, but it goes all the way down to the floor. It doesn't have to go that low, but that's okay, it'll work. And just say cut. Let's see what happens. So if I cut it, look at that. Beautiful. Cut my countertop. Okay. I think that's it for this guy. Let's just take a look at that rendering, just to use that as my I put the backsplash. I cut this counter, the backsplash here. I cut the sinks out. I lined those up. I put my cabinets underneath there. I think I've done everything that I want to do.